New media. First, it was Westhoff on Rogan. Now we've got Mike Jones of Inspiring Philosophy on TimCast. And this one's a banger. Mike actually gets into a difficult subject. Take a look at this.
And you can see it in the scriptures. Like go to like Ephesians 6, where Paul says, everyone quotes that. Slave masters, or slaves obey your masters. But no one quotes right after that in Ephesians 6, where Paul says,
okay, so we got the Inspiring Philosophy guy is on. Tim Pool, which okay, cool. So I thought Tim was like an atheist or whatever, but I bet you he's gonna pull like what everybody else seems to be pulling, which is, oh no, I know that's my audience, so I'm just gonna pander. I'm gonna pander to them and not push back like at all. But let's see. I don't know. I haven't watched any of this yet. So but let's get into it. My name's Brentley. This is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. So I was saying, this is what's this guy's name again? It's the debate teacher guy. He's covering it. I'm covering it through him covering it. I know it's like covering it to the third, but yeah. So I maybe I'll go back later and we can watch the full clip of Inspiring Philosophy on Tim Pool's show. But let's see what they got going on here.
and masters do likewise to your slaves.
Slavery has always been a point of contention for lots of people, both in and out of the church. But what did Mike say?
It's so funny because like this one, as somebody who grew up in the South, being like homeschooled with not necessarily pro-slavery but slavery apologetics taught to me in school in my homeschooling history curriculum. We were nice to our slaves, though. Just like the Bible verse says. The Bible verse says that you're supposed to be nice to slaves. So that kind of cancels out because if you're nice to slaves, then there's nothing really wrong with slavery. Shit, hold on. What were we arguing for? I forgot what we were even. Hold on. Yeah, people as property is not bad if you're nice to them or something.
Did he defend the faith well? And how should you be thinking about this challenge when it happens to you?
Oh, Wise Disciple. That's his name. Whatever. I always forget.
Welcome back to Wise Disciple. My name is Nate Sala, and this is the #1 Christian ministry hosted by a half Samoan. Here at Wise Disciple, I'm helping you become the effective Christian that you were meant to be.
Well, okay. Cool, man. That's awesome.
Make sure to like, sub, and share this one around, but only if it's a blessing. All right, let's do it.
There was a hierarchy, and Christians come on the scene. They go, no, everyone here is the image of God, and they should have specific rights. That's something that also develops out of the Christian tradition. And they slowly start to change the culture. It took a while, for sure. I mean, you still had infanticide in the Middle Ages because even though the church was condemning it, it took a while to saturate the culture that Tom Holland talks about.
So Mike is having a conversation with Phil. I think his name is Phil Labonte on TimCast IRL. And they're talking about the treatment of children. How horrible it was. I mean, particularly like in the Roman Empire and leading up to the Middle Ages. But Christianity changed a lot of that by making a few key moves, one of which was to decry the abuse of children. The children who were used as slaves for adults who sought to abuse them. If you catch,
it's kind of weird that they're doing that because, like, it's like to what degree? Because, like, if you look at like modern day psychology and we see like what is actually abusive, a lot of the decrees of the Bible, as it applies to parenting, is abusive. They say like if you hate your child, you won't hit them, or if you hate your child, you won't hit them. If you love your child, you will hit them. That's abuse, man. So they were like, so they're less abusive, I guess, than the Romans or whatever. Okay. That's great, man. Congratulations. This is the all-knowing, all-powerful God of the fucking universe. And he couldn't just say from the get, like, not, don't hit kids and stuff, like actually have the actual standard of how to treat your children. He couldn't do that, but they're like, but they're better than treating, they were against them. They were against PDF file stuff that the Romans were doing. So we're better. Okay, man. It's like, that's not, I don't feel like you're saying much at this point. You're just like, They only raped them. They didn't kill them and torture them for life. So I feel like that's better. That's better, right? Like, I don't care. I don't care if it's better. It's still awful. What the hell is the matter with you?
Catch my drift. You know, there was a euphemism that was used to describe this practice, but Christians invented a new term for this, and rightly so. They called it child corrupter. And Christians pushed forward some novel ideas that children need to be protected, that their status needed to be.
It's the priests that are supposed to be doing that. That's really what it was. It was the priests back then were like, how come they're doing our thing? Okay, but we're supposed to be the ones that do what they're doing. Because isn't it ironic that they're like, and the church is the thing that said not to PDF file grape children. Really? Are you sure? Because it seems like y'all get in trouble for that a lot.
Elevated in society to the point where they were not treated so poorly. So this is what Mike is talking about. And he's walking through all of these pieces incredibly well. But the conversation is starting to shift towards slavery. Watch this.
But the reason why we think these kinds of things.
Yeah, because it's really weird when you're sitting there saying that the Christians were better than the Romans or whatever, when we can point to Bible verses in the holy book that you still hold up as the moral framework for how everybody should behave. And it's like, there's stuff like slavery in there, man. Like, and you're just, and the parts that you point to are like, but you should be nice. You should be nice to the property that are humans that you own. And that makes it okay. That makes it better.
That slavery is wrong, that human rights exist, that humanity has intrinsic value, and that children should be cared for. This comes out of the Christian tradition. In the ancient world, they were beat routinely. They were turned into sex slaves as children, boys and girls. It's again horrifying to read. And again, slavery was just the norm. No one ever questioned the idea that slavery should be abolished until the Christians came on the scene. The first one to say slavery should be abolished was Gregory of Nyssa, working on what he was learning in the scriptures and reading Paul and Genesis. And that slowly began to change.
I don't know if any of that's true. I feel like that's probably not. Because I feel like I don't know. I feel like there isn't Buddhism like older than that, and I would imagine they would be against. But I don't. Again, I'm not a history guy, so I don't know. I'd have to double check on that. Does anybody know if like in Buddhist countries, did they abolish slavery first? I don't know. What was that?
What was that?
Yeah, a lot of this can be found in Gregory of Nyssa's homilies on Ecclesiastes. Actually, let's pull that up. Take a look at this.
So then why wasn't it in the Bible, man? Like, why did it require some Christian person to be like, hey, this thing that the Bible outlines and says that it's okay, we shouldn't do that. We should be against this. Why did it take that? Is your God real or not? Because if your God were real, then it wouldn't require some person going, we should disagree with the scriptures. Because the scriptures say that you can own slaves. And they even say that you can beat slaves. If you look in the Old Testament, and nowhere in the New Testament does it say that slavery is wrong, even though it's literally a human owning another human as property. Doesn't matter if you're like saying to be nice to them or not. They're still fucking property, man.
So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 2, and we find the author at this point talking about the vanity of self-indulgence. And in it, he talks about owning slaves. Look at this. I bought male and female slaves and had slaves who were born in my house. But then watch what happens. Then I considered all that my hands had done and the toil I had expended in doing it, and behold, all was vanity and a striving after wind. And there was nothing to be gained under the sun.
So he set them free. Is that what you're saying? He was like, so I realized that slavery was wrong, and the children that were born into slavery and knew nothing other than being kidnapped and forced to work as property, they should go free. Because there's, you shouldn't own people as property. Does it get to that? Where does it get to that?
Gregory of Nyssa had something to say about it. Look at this. This is Gregory of Nyssa's commentary on Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 7. Look at what he says. Man, who was created as Lord over the earth, you have put under the yoke of servitude as a transgressor and rebel against the divine precept. You have forgotten the limit of your authority, which consists in jurisdiction over brutish animals. By the way, real quick, I have this quote.
I don't understand. Like, so is he condemning what the Bible says? She's saying, the Bible got this part wrong. Just so you know, this is, if God's real and the one that I believe in is the actual one, even though the God that I believe in is based off of these scriptures, but I'm condemning these scriptures as being wrong or something. I'm confused. Like, what is he?
With my subscription to Logos Bible software, and you can too. Logos is a game changer for the serious student of scripture.
How are we doing? Who won today? Y'all feeling okay? Y'all doing all right? Yeah, it took me. I've been out of it. I'm gonna be honest. Had a rough couple of days. Let's just go with that. Yeah, but thank y'all for being patient. Except for Pandora's Pinata, you're not being. That's not patience, right there. You're like, fucking finally! Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! It's been 2 fucking days. What the? All right, no, it's fine. Thank you. No, it. Sorry. Yeah. So Pandora's Pinata impatiently won, but and then Paul was second. Is that hello everyone? Much more patient sounding. I don't even think Paul knew. I was like, finally. I don't even know why are they shouting finally? Was something going on? I haven't been here all week. I don't know what's going on. And then who else we got? Oh, and then we got James third, who was secretly hiding in the corner, watching the people come in before everybody got there, because that's what James always says. He's always there, just lurking, just watching. And then he just decides where he's going to be in the running, but he's always there first. Then Blood Badger, what's up, dude? Hey, how's it going? Drazilla, hey. All right, Michael. Cool. Spooky. Hey, Spooky made it. What's up, dude? I've heard so many Christians deny slavery in the Bible. I know it's kind of a disturbing conversation that seems to happen quite often, which is that's not good. That's not good. I feel like this is holding us back at this point. If we're having to have this fucking conversation still, there, I think the Bible's the problem here. If they need it to be so true that they can't like grapple with the parts in it that clearly aren't. Just from a purely like moral standard stance, you know what I mean? Anyway, Deep State, how's it going? So that flag behind that horrendous set reminds me of the World War II bad guys. Him, this one here. He's got like the flag, or he's talking on TimCast. I'd have to look back at it. It makes sense either way. Doesn't matter. This one could be what you're talking about. One in TimCast could be what you're talking about. I don't know. Just they all have bad flags. It seems. I don't know. That was Bad Flag, not Black Flag. That's a great band. Is Black Flag? That's not what I said. Bad. Never mind. Forget it. John, what's up, dude? How's it going? Oh yeah. What are we at here? All right. How many? Captive Desk Dave. What's up, dude? Oh yeah. Let's see. Okay. John said Christianity did not change the way children were raised. Read Plato. Socrates is executed for the charge of corrupting the youth 1,000 years before Jesus said anything. And he said that kids obey. Okay. Yeah, I'd have to look into that. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm unaware of everything to do with Plato and Socrates. Other than, I think Socrates liked to ask questions or something. I don't know. Something to do with him and morality. Euthyphro is the dude they were heading to disc. I don't know. I'm still reading stuff. It takes a while to get through philosophy stuff. You always got to learn the thing before it. And it's just like, oh my gosh, how far back do I have to? And they're like, no, you just got to keep going. It's like, you can't understand this unless you understand the thing before it. And then the thing before it, they're like, oh no, you can't understand the thing before it because you understand the thing before that. And you're like, okay, so I'm just going back to and they're like, and then they invented fire. And you're like, fucking shit, man. Really? This is where we're at with the fucking. But no, philosophy is great, man. It's really good to get into,
Sure. It also has cool insights like this quote from Gregory of Nyssa. Okay. So for more on all of this, go to logos.com/wise disciple and you can grab my special discount. So that's Gregory's view on the matter.
That was
this is what he's saying. He's saying, look, slavery is not God's original design for human beings. It's not the original divine precept.
Well, shit. And then maybe the perfect God should have put a bird in somebody's fucking ear when they were writing the words that were inspired by him and all or something. I don't know. It's crazy. It's weird.
So for those who seek to gain slaves for themselves, you've forgotten what the limit of your authority was. Mankind was only supposed to have dominion over the animals of the earth, not other people. And that's why someone like the author of Ecclesiastes can realize all of this is just vanity. It's a complete waste of time. And it's an abuse of humanity.
Okay, so I don't understand. So the Bible's wrong. So you agree that the Bible was wrong, that when this person, this fucking Christian guy from back in the day, he was correct in saying that the Bible was wrong. Is that your stance, sir?
I mean, this is what, middle to late 4th century, that Gregory's writing here, before the fall of Rome, before the slave trade that we have all learned about in history.
So why didn't this get updated into the fucking actual Bible? Because this just seems to be something somebody wrote about the Bible after the Bible was written. Why, like, why wasn't the inspired words of the God of the fucking universe like saying this shit ahead of time?
And as Mike is pointing out now, this was a novel view, what Gregory of Nyssa said. Before that, slavery was just taken for granted. It was a way of life, like Planned Parenthood is today for so many, which, so this is a related issue.
Today, because it's not today. I mean, today, y'all repealed it. There's like barely, anyway.
But this is why the atheist retorts, saying, well, why didn't God say something about slavery? It's because of this. These skeptics and atheists have no appreciation for the utter depravity of mankind.
When
was that?
I believe in the 300s, as Gregory of Nyssa was around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the wider culture did ignore him for a while, but you start to see throughout the Christian tradition them slowly moving to
His voice cracks a lot. It just, and I don't, maybe he's got some kind of condition, whatever, that's fine. But it throws me off. So I'm like, how old is this person talking? And then you look at it, oh no, he's an adult. Okay. Yeah. All right.
slavery that by the time you get to like St. Anselm, like it's sort of getting abolished from Europe in a lot of places. And so then the Europeans later on going, well, we're not allowed to enslave Christians. We know that's wrong. Let's go elsewhere to enslave people. And that's how you get the transatlantic slave trade. And then the funny thing is if you
the transatlantic slave trade, they pointed to verses in the Bible as why it was a God-given right to own humans as property. That was the debate in America. What, fucking 150 years ago, not that long ago. There was the debate, and people were both sides were pointing to the same fucking book. One was going, oh, but you should treat your neighbor as yourself. And then the other people like, are they our neighbors? No, look at this Bible verse. It's like says you can even beat them. Look at this Bible verse. It says you can own. There's nothing Jesus said that didn't say anything about like freeing slaves or anything. Like, they kind of had the winning argument, honestly, if we're going to use the Bible. The people that were arguing for slavery, if you got the Bible as the basis, you lose when it comes to like setting slaves free, So it's kind of fucked up. It's crazy that we still are having these stupid conversations because they have to act like their book is so fucking moral, even though it's so obviously not.
You read about the transatlantic slave trade, a lot of the plantation owners were trying to keep their slaves away from missionaries because if the missionaries come in, they're going to evangelize these slaves and turn them in to Christians, and then we'll have to free them. And so there was like, a lot of the Quakers were like being like oppressed in the Sugar Islands because they were trying to evangelize and like, no, you can't do that because we need slaves. It's
okay. So John said, see, and this is where it would be helpful if I knew literally anything about history. I, again, homeschooled, didn't know. The history I was taught was just the Bible, and that the Bible was true and historical. So don't know much. I need to go back and look, learn some stuff about history. John said slavery was opposed by many people throughout history. None of the shit they are talking about is exclusive or even common in Christianity. Yeah, I was going to say, like, because it's not like it's hard to figure out, right? I mean, it doesn't, all you got to be is somebody that's like, watching somebody own another person's property and go, yeah, I wouldn't want to be that person. That'd be fucking awful. That's kidnapping. That's that's a crime. It doesn't take much to look over and see that and go, that's evil. Like, holy shit. So for them to be like, only the Christians stay, like, okay, man, like I don't think you're right about that. But they always want to point to what we were the ones to free the slaves. And it's like, dude, you're the ones that book says that it's okay to own slaves. How do you get credit for both things? How do you go, oh no, it was us that enslaved people and everything. And then also us that fucking set them free. And like, you want the credit? Really? Was it? Come on, dude, get the fuck out of here. That's insane.
Human nature has always been butting up against the Christian tradition, and then Christian tradition is trying to move humanity slowly but surely in a much better direction. You can read about that in Catherine Gerbner's book, Christian Slavery. It's a very interesting history of the Sugar Island stuff.
I love the point Mike is making here.
That
And
what?
again,
That the Christians are like, even though they were doing the slavery and stuff, they were like, but we should be nicer, you know? We should read the other parts of the Bible and start living like that more than these parts of the Bible. We need to be better. And it's the Christians going saying that.
I mean, this is just completely missed, right? Goes right over the head of a lot of atheists and skeptics today. The question that is not asked, and with skeptics, I'm sure we can guess why this question is not asked. But the question is,
let's hear it.
What was God's purpose for allowing slavery in the Old Testament?
Yeah, that's it. That's the question. Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why us skeptics don't fucking ask that question. Because that's a sick question to ask, man. Jeez Louise. I mean, we could say the same thing about well, I'm not even going to say it, about the World War II and the evil atrocities that happened during that shit. Well, what is the purpose here? Now, no, God was trying to teach some lessons. That's what that was. Somebody walked away from that sucker going, I'm closer to God now because of all the death and destruction. Yeah. So, lesson learned. Thanks, God. This was totally worth it. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
That is only a question that a genuine seeker of truth can ask.
No, it's only a question that a completely deluded person that's just trying to find fucking excuses for heinous shit in the past that would ask. That's what this is. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? God damn.
Someone who can concede the existence of God, like really concede it, and then ponder why the God of the Bible would allow it.
Right. Like you're starting from your conclusion and then going, there must have been something. There must have been some reason to allow this evil disguise. It couldn't possibly be the thing that, the God's just not real. And a bunch of humans have made up a God, throughout history or whatever. And now you're just apologizing for slavery because of it, man. What the fuck is wrong? What's going on here, dude?
But once you really do that, you start paying close attention to this type of God that we find in the scripture. You realize that this is a being who is incredibly patient with his creation. This is a being who, for example, sent his people, the nation of Israel, into the desert for 40 years. So there's a great related question,
Is patient the right word? I don't think patient works. That's not the word I would use. Disgusting, evil, doesn't give a shit about people suffering. Like, what? Come on, but patient. He's like, but he's patient though. That's why he sent his own people into the desert, which was like, a tiny little space of land they got lost in for 40 years or something. Was it 40 or 400? Some stupid number of years they got lost because God's patient. He's like, no, they'll get it. Yeah, they'll figure it. They'll find their way. They walking straight lines is difficult for them. But I will patiently wait for them. Yes, I will. And that's what the point of this is, because it's showing how patient I am. What the fuck?
Why would God allow Israel to be freed and then send his people into the desert for 40 years for a trip that should have realistically taken, a week, right? Or something like that, like a minute fraction of that time? And the answer is because God was shifting the mindset of his people.
Oh my good God.
He brought them out of Egypt.
So again, so somebody learned a lesson. That's where we're at here. And it's like somebody learned a lesson from all the damn slavery, what the fuck? How? This is where it gets insane to me, where they're just like, oh no, all the suffering and stuff is just so somebody can become more resilient. And it's like, what about the people that died, dude? Like, what they're part of somebody else's lesson. Their life doesn't matter. It's the other person that's learning the lesson that does matter. Like, what the fuck? Jesus.
But now he was bringing the Egypt out of them. Look at this. This is Moses speaking. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 8, the Lord has brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you.
Hold on. Charlie, what's up, dude? Charlie said, it's the death of democracy as Americans are made into a serf class. For the oligarchs, they need religion to make good unquestioning slaves. So America needs Jesus. That was well said. Yeah, it tends to be the motivating factor in getting people to be okay with their own suffering. That seems to be how religion works a lot of times. Or I think maybe because it was something that kind of emerged from societies that were suffering, right? And so they were already suffering. So they're like, hey, you know, at least after we're done suffering, we can go to the magical amusement park in the sky and be with our friends and family for all eternity, as long as we believe the right stuff or whatever. And that kind of like makes their minds a little bit more comfortable or whatever. So yeah, but they of course the oligarchs, as you put it, like flip it. You know, they flip it. You should be okay with suffering. Okay, you deserve it. Actually, you know, you're born broken and disgusting, right? And God, you know, the only thing good about you is that you might be saved by Jesus one day. So just, you know, you're garbage. You're garbage. You deserve everything. Do the work I'm telling you to do. Just do it, and don't even ever advocate for your rights or anything like that. Please, just shut up. Just shut up and suffer. Okay, get over it. All right, be a man. All right, be a man and deal with suffering. Jesus, yeah, it's pretty gross. Michael said, Christians fought Christians over this, and they are continually trying to drag us backwards. 100%. That's where, you know, I was going, like, dude, you don't get to take the credit when you're also the ones dragging us back. Like, you can't be arguing for it and against it and be like, but Christians, though, it's like, dude, Christians are on both sides of this argument. And again, the ones that were pointing to the Bible as their basis for morality actually kind of were the ones that were pro-slavery, and they actually had much better arguments if, again, the Bible is the basis for it. But because it says it a lot, man. It's not like it's only in there once or twice. Jesus. Anyway, where are we at here? Charlie said, the God of the Bible is not real, but it is described as a moral monster. Patient isn't killing all his people, including babies, and saving the drunken daughter helper. Yeah, that is the wrong word. Patient is an insane. That's a sociopathic thing to say. This is why Christians sound completely just out, like they just sound delusional when it comes to just any kind of understanding of morality that would translate to any other group of people that aren't apologizing for somebody that, like, you know, sanctioned slavery. You know what I mean? But
from the house of slavery, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Notice the Lord didn't just bring them out of Egypt, he redeemed them.
What? Yeah, he did. I mean, what is he like? Okay, so you had to go through that to learn the lesson. Come on, man. It went on for 400 years here in America, dude. You know how long people live? Not 400 fucking years. So, like, what? And the people who learned the lesson, the last people from it, like, what the fuck? How does
it's that last quality?
So stupid.
That's what took so long. That's what takes generation after generation to accomplish. And that's what atheists and skeptics have no patience for.
Yeah, because we're supposed to be getting our morality from your God, man. They're supposed to be the arbiter of all morality. It's supposed to be a perfect God. And you guys are sitting here apologizing for the slavery parts in it and being like, well, there was a good reason for humans to be able to own humans as slaves, you know, as property, as little as 150 years ago. And you're like, but there was a meaning, you know, there were lessons being learned. Shut the fuck, go fuck yourself. You sound insane.
They have no capacity to understand this redemption.
No, we just don't have to start with our conclusion that God is always great and always there's got to be a point for everything. So it doesn't matter if he orders, you know, to the, you know, for Shmenicides and stuff like that. There's got to be a greater purpose, because we've just sort of decided that God can literally do whatever that he wants, no matter how awful and disgusting it is. And there's always some thing that we just don't understand. That's it. We're not starting from that presupposition, because that's a stupid presupposition to start with.
Redemption of the heart and soul. That is what not only creates laws against things like slavery in time, but that is actually what removes it from a person's heart and desire in the first place. Moses goes on to say this, and you shall remember the whole way that the Lord your God has led you these 40 years in the wilderness, that he might humble you, testing you to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. See,
so he lets you suffer to humble you, you know, except for the people that died. What they just got, they got so humbled. Like the people that were so humbled through suffering that they didn't survive it. Like, oh, well, you know, you should have humbled yourself. Like, what? it's their fault or something that they come on, man.
It's one thing to
Insane.
just tell people, hey, I've got a new command for you. I am the Lord, so just go ahead and obey it, right?
Why not? He did that with other stuff, man. He said they couldn't eat shit. There were certain things that they weren't, like he commanded them not to eat. Why didn't they have to learn the lesson for that stuff, huh? Why didn't they have to learn, like, oh man, if you eat this, you get sick? And so, you know, that would humble you to eat the shellfish and the split hooves animal, whatever the fuck, all that stuff, so that you have to get sick first. Like, why decree anything, right? Why have any commandments at all if we all are just going to learn them anyway through humbling ourselves and shit? What the fuck, man? It doesn't make any sense what you're saying.
I mean, if you think about it, you might even get away with enforcing this command, maybe by threatening punishment or something. But it's another thing entirely to get
He
people.
does that already. He does that with other stuff. Like, this is just doesn't make any sense, man. It's so weird that y'all apologize for this. Why don't you just say, man, it was written a long time ago, okay? And you know, and so back then, the thought of the day was not that slavery was that bad, and that's when this book was written, and it wasn't inspired by God. But they can't do that. They have to try to rationalize around this, and it's embarrassing every single time they do this.
People to want to obey that command, to actually desire to live up to it, particularly when it runs right up against something that people have known for centuries. It's just in the water. And that's the kind of God that we find in Deuteronomy. You know, look at verse 2.
You find a very angry, not what's the word, like a very angry, human-like, king-like even God is more like what the guy, like, it wasn't even omnipotent. Like, this is the weird thing. If you like actually go back and look at the God the way that it's described in the Old Testament, it's not omnipotent. You know, it's not all loving. It's not any of the things that they would just describe their God as like now. Yet he was the same yesterday, today, and forever. Like they contradict themselves so often that they just compartmentalize everything, right? It's just like, oh no, that was back then, and he actually was loving, but you know, he was trying to humble them and stuff. So it was okay that, you know, all these people were like suffering and dying for like so long. It's just insane. It's crazy what you gotta, like, the knots you gotta tie your brain in to like do this is how this was the most frustrating part, honestly, of being a Christian. It was having to do this, having to be like, well, actually, if slavery is not actually bad if you're nice to the slave. That's what I was taught in school. Like, that is the most frustrating and just aggravating part of having to be a Christian, was just constantly having to apologize for the most insane shit imaginable, and not, you know, and still having to be like, no, but it's perfect. It's a perfect God as long as I decide that it just is perfect, no matter what it does and decrees and sanctions. It all is always perfect because I will just rationalize around it.
God is interested in their hearts, to see what was actually in their hearts, not just that they would obey him, but that their hearts will change.
Didn't he already know that, man? Like, why is it that he has to do, like, oh, he's got to change their hearts? Yeah, what, why, man? Like, what the fuck is this? And so through hundreds and hundreds of years, again, up until just 150 fucking years ago, this was something that was a pretty normal, common practice, right? The most disgusting kidnapping and harming of other cultures, honestly, because I think of the first commandment, when they say, you know, if you don't, you got to worship our God, otherwise you're morally bad, right? And then they just connect that to the Old Testament, where they say, like, just buy the heathens that surround you, because they're not really people, right? They don't even worship the right God and stuff, you know. So so they got that kind of, just that racism just sort of baked into the Bible, right? And it's like, and there was nothing to correct it other than people that like basically went against what the Bible said at some point. We're like, you know what? Even though the book says it, I'm not going to apologize for this anymore. This is evil. It's wrong. You know, we're done. We're done acting like God can say that it's okay to own people as property and get away with it and like have that be a normal practice. We're not doing that anymore. Like, people had to say that. It wasn't religion. It was people. It was like the different groups of people that all agreed outside of anybody's religion. You had like different groups of people that all understood just the basics of morality. And like it transcended anybody's subjective interpretation of what they thought their God wanted. And they were just like, this is obviously harmful no matter what religion you believe in. That's what it took.
That's a much slower process. To get the Egypt out of them, to get them where they would be fully committed to this. Look at verse 3.
Egypt out of them. God, your God is a fucking weirdo, dude.
And God humbled you and let you hunger and fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Every word.
How is this helping your case? You're just like, it's cool as long as you're not humble enough. People being owned as property weren't humble enough. Is that really what we're doing here? Like, well, I just had to wait. God just had to get them till their mind and spirit was so broken, that eventually, hundreds of years later, we would, set people free. Like, come on, man, this is insane. Because people weren't fucking humble. The slaves just weren't humble enough. Jeez.
Moses goes on to say, watch out. It's very easy to forget all of this, to go back to your old ways and your heart of hearts, right? This is the backdrop.
Yeah, the most insane part of the Bible, honestly. Like after they escaped Egypt, parts the water, magically walking through a fucking sea, everything. They get out of there. They crush the Pharaoh because the water just comes crashing back. Like once they've magically made it across the sea, and then they immediately forget. Like we should worship something else. Because I mean it was that. I don't like what we were fed. Something. We should just, we should melt down everybody's gold and then just start worshiping that shit. Because we all forgot what literally just happened days ago. Like, what the fuck is that? Was like watching that movie, the 10 Commandments. That was like the most like, what the hell? How is this a story? Like, y'all shouldn't put this in a narrative form on the big screen because it makes your beliefs that much more unbelievable. You know what I mean? We're just like, how stupid is everybody? Like, what the hell's wrong with them? Like, what are you talking about? What, did they all get hit in the head? What, did they all fall on a rock while when they made it across the sea? Like, what happened? Like, what, you got amnesia? What happened?
Behind what Mike is telling Phil and the TimCast folks now, there is a much longer play that God is after with regard to slavery.
See, it's always, you don't understand. Like, it's always something you just don't understand, right? It's got mysterious ways, right? God had to teach some lessons through humans owning other humans as property. Jesus.
Jews take slaves in the early days?
They did. And then sometime in the first millennium, a lot of the popes started to outlaw Jews owning Christians as slaves. And then they started outlawing Muslims or Christians being sold to Muslims. And then you saw slow reforms happening. Like slowly they're like, okay, no more slavery here, but we'll allow it here still. So yeah, you saw, I think one of the popes and one of the
How is that? Like, how do you not hear that this is just people doing this? This is just evidence that like we're all in this together, dude. And that's it. There's no God driving this rock flying through space. Okay. We're like just the humans, right? And the humans have to convince the other humans that have the power over, more humans to actually like care about the people that don't have power's well-being. That's always been the struggle, right? No matter, it still is. That's where we're at right now. And now we got these, brainwashing machines to basically say that you don't have to care about certain people if they are different than you enough, to the point where they will just hand over all the power to billionaire oligarchs, because, hey, the people that are different are icky or whatever. So let's let this dude just loot our fucking $6 trillion treasury. Fucking insanity. It's the same thing throughout history.
600s or 700s said no more Jews owning slaves and no more owning. And then one pope came along and he attacked the Venetian slave trade. He said no more selling slaves. By the way, he bought all the slaves and then freed them. And then, even Isabella of Spain did some horrible things, but she also outlawed enslaving Native Americans unless they were hostile or cannibals.
Okay. Mike was saying humble equals believing not only do you talk to the creator of the universe, but you are his favorite. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Very humble. That's what humble people think. That's, jeez. It's the most arrogant shit you could possibly think. 100%. It's insane. Wow.
So again, we saw slow reforms moving us by the time the abolitionist movement comes along. Yeah.
Why? Why did we see slow reforms up until, like I said, just 150 years ago? That's so, like, your religion has been around for thousands of years, and yet we couldn't get rid of this disgusting practice until 150 years ago. And it's still, and just even still, the repercussions from it are being felt all over the world, you know. But your God existed for thousands of years, had the ability to directly communicate with people, but he had to let them learn their lessons because they weren't humble enough. So hey, I gotta just let people own other people as property so that they will humble themselves. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense, man.
It was deep in this Christian tradition that there's something wrong here. And you can see it in the scriptures. Like go to like Ephesians 6, where Paul says, everyone quotes that. Slave masters, or slaves obey your masters. But no one quotes right after that in Ephesians 6, where Paul says, and masters do likewise to your slaves. So he doesn't outright say slavery should be wrong, but he undercuts any sort of like reason for slavery to exist. If masters need to do exactly to their slaves as slaves doing, there's no institution of slavery at that point. So the Christian values slowly start to undercut it.
Why wouldn't they just say that then? Why would it be that you have to pull out that kind of makes slavery not a thing if they're saying that you got to treat your slaves kind or whatever? Like, come on, man. Then why wouldn't just say don't own slaves?
And this is why Tom Holland says Christianity was like a depth charge. It took a while for these explosions to go off and spread.
Love it. Great point.
What? The depth charge thing? Okay.
Love Mike on TimCast. Love seeing him up there. You should definitely watch the whole thing. I've got the link for it for you in the notes. And he's making a really great point here. Let's pull up Ephesians. Take a look at this. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. Bondservants or slaves.
No. Bondservants are different than slaves. My goodness. It's crazy that they're such liars. They're liars. Bondservants are like, what was it? Jewish people owning other Jewish people and not the heathens that surround them. Right. So they had to set them free after 7 years, unless they tricked them into being their slaves basically forever by allowing them to get married and have kids, but then being like, no, your wife and your kids are still mine. Do you still want to go free? And of course they're going to go, no. It's a disgusting practice to even try to make it like it's better even. Right. But they have to conflate the two because they're that dishonest. But it's not the same fucking thing, man. They weren't property. The property, they could literally pass them down to their children. That's how little they mattered and how little autonomy they had. They were passed on to people's children.
Your earthly masters with fear and trembling, with a sincere heart as you would Christ, not by the way of eye service as people pleasers, but as bondservants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. That's key. Rendering service with a good will as to the Lord and not to man, knowing that whatever good anyone does, this he will receive back from the Lord, whether he is a bondservant or is free. Masters, do the same to them, and stop your threatening, knowing that he who is both their master and your master is in heaven, and that there is no partiality with him.
Why couldn't he just say, don't have slaves at all? Why? Like this... Like, it's not like they read this and were like, oh, we should immediately abolish slavery because of this verse here. You're having to cherry pick in order to be like, see, sometimes the Bible knew that slavery was bad. Kind of, not really. It's just sort of just saying that once everybody goes to heaven, that everybody will be in heaven, I guess. I'm not really sure exactly the point they're trying to make here, other than God sees y'all as, not like on the same level, pretty much. Okay, why didn't they take that to mean that people should be treated equally? Why? Because and that's really something that did not, that we have not even yet achieved.
Did you catch that? Masters, do the same to them. Wait, what's the same? Right? If the bondservants or slaves are to obey the masters, and they're to do it in a certain
Oh my God.
way.
So cryptically, wow, this is so sad. See, this is exactly again like what I think this creates more atheists than Christians. When you have to go in here and cryptically find the fucking code that was like, see, the Bible said to free slaves the whole time. We just didn't realize it, you know, because it was so cryptically put in there to be like, masters do the same, which means obey your slaves. Then why would you use the word master and slave if we if masters are to obey their slaves and slaves are to obey them? Like, how does this make any sense? Somebody's got to obey somebody. You're saying like everybody has to obey everybody, because that means that doesn't make any sense. Now you're just trying to like make sense out of shit. Again, because this is what they have to do. They're stuck. They're morally stuck, and they know it. That's the thing here. And so they have to do some kind of brain pretzel bullshit to try to get themselves out of what they know is obviously harmful shit that their religion actually didn't do anything about. And it was just humans like that, just outside of all religions realizing that this was wrong, no matter what religion it was.
How can masters do the same to them? The answer is
the Bible's incoherent. That's what the answer is. The answer is your book doesn't make any fucking sense, man. Jesus. It's like, hold on. John said, I'm going to try to get some comments here. John said, the obliteration of the definition of words is key to most religious and cult conditioning. They take a commonly understood concept and make someone blur it into one or more different concepts. Yeah, and that's a lot of times why you'll see them pull up like, well, the Greek word for this is actually, and if you look even beyond that, the Hebrew word for this, and it's just to like blur the lines so they can start playing with definitions and equivocating things, just so they can get whatever explanation or whatever bullshit they want to pull from it. They can pull it from it, because it makes it so that all bets are off. It doesn't actually mean anything. You can make it mean stuff, which is exactly why this is not useful in terms of morality and how to behave. Because if you can sit here and rationalize around stuff like slavery, like, then what the hell is off the table, man? Jesus, it's insane. Nothing's off the table. You can behave in any way you fucking want, and then you can just point to the Bible and be like, it's justified here. Because if you look at the Greek word for the no, it's not. Was it the 40? I can't remember. I always forget. Charlie, so who gets lost for 40 years? Was it the Hebrew? Was it 40 years or 400? I always forget that because because it's such a stupid number anyway. 40 would be absurd, but just my understanding of how silly the Bible is, it's like it's probably 400. Yeah, I think about it. Yeah, no, they probably got lost for 400 years in like a parking lot worth of fucking space. Let's see. Lord Dissonant, what's up, dude? Said or make believe man and either. Well, I mean that's what it is. It's all the make believe man stuff. So you can always just say that make believe man says whatever you'd like him to say, because that's how make believe mans are. Calicia, hey, how's it going? I pee frequently as foot and mouth disease. Yeah, 100%. It really does. Every single time. Uh-oh. Hey, Skeptically Pissed. How we doing, dude? It's good to see you, man. And then the mighty Filbert. So, dude. Oh yeah, please, if you don't mind, liking and subscribing. My God, I'm just so bad at this. Thank you, Drusilla. Really appreciate you doing that. Yeah, Michael's like, what? Oh my God, the mental gymnastics involved. It's just own up. I know, right? Just acknowledge it, dude, and move on. My God, I don't, this is like what the main stuff, honestly, that turned, that got me like questioning stuff. When I would go back, I didn't even know. Let me put this out there. I didn't even know that there were parts of the Bible that condone slavery explicitly, and it's not just the Old Testament, right? I didn't even realize that, and so when I took this back to people, I would listen. I remember hearing a song, it's a punk song, kind of. It was like a reggae. So it was Propaganda, and it was called "Fuck Religion." And I remember there was like a music video, and it said like religion advocates, and then it had like all this stuff. It was like shmenishide and shit like that. And one of the things that slavery, abuse, spousal abuse, all this type of stuff is said in the video, right? And it was just like words come up on the screen. And I remember being like, this is bullshit, man. That's not right, because I was listening to the punk songs and bands and everything, but I still was a Christian at the time, so I remember taking it back and like looking up slavery in the Bible, shmenishide in the Bible, all these things, and being like, oh shit, how did I not know? And the crazy thing was that I remembered hearing sermons taught about slavery, and they completely misrepresented it and completely just turned it into, hey, you should obey your boss. If your boss asks you to do something, do more than what they asked you to do. And that was like the complete equivocation of what slavery was to just going to work and getting paid, right? And that was the same. I was like, wow, like it kind of blew me away. And I just remember being like, wow, dude, I've been lying to myself. That's honestly the main thing you start to notice when you start deconstructing is like, I'm just fucking lying to myself a lot, until you're finally like, I'm not going to lie to myself anymore. Like, I'm just going to, if somebody asks me about this, I'm just going to say, I don't like that part of the Bible and be done. Yeah, I'm a Christian, but I have my own interpretation. I don't like that part of the Bible. I don't acknowledge it as the perfect word of God. I have a personal relationship. I don't abide by that part. That's it. That's what I started to do for a while. And then of course that ended up kind of being like, well, then hold on. If I don't have to take this part, why do I have to take any part? How do I know that any of it is true if I'm like able to just pull parts out? Right. Because I was taught like such a fundamentalist view of Christianity that you kind of had to have it all. Otherwise the whole thing just sort of crumbles. And that's exactly what happened. Just a little bit of background on me.
Everyone is supposed to submit to the will of God and to seek the ultimate good.
The will of God said that some people that just happen to have more power than other people can own people as fucking property. What are you talking about? They act like they get out of that. It's like, but what about the other verses that sanction the slavery, man?
Of the other.
Jesus.
The bondservant is meant to do this for his master, but the master is meant to do this right back to the bondservant. And that's precisely. So when you really wrestle with the.
What's up, Rami? How we doing? So they can't acknowledge it because they see how insane the Christians who do stand 10 toes down for it look. They will lose all moral credibility they claim to have. 100%. Remy's absolutely right here. And that's what it does. I mean, and I think that's why these conversations are so useful when it comes to like the call-in shows, which is, it just kind of blows my mind that we still get people calling into like the line to talk to Matt Dillahunty and be like, I've got actually a good argument for slavery. Okay. No, I figured it out. It is actually moral if you, because of, whatever, and it never seems to work out for them, and they end up being told to shut the fuck up a few times and stuff because they just keep talking over them. And then, anyway, but no, yeah, it's crazy. It's an insane thing to even begin to try to argue for. But Drusilla said, Lord Dissidently, I'm unfortunately enslaved by nicotine. That's why I was at the store. We need to go further here to get slaved. Yeah. And that was another, that's funny that you brought that up, because that was like another thing that I heard is like an apologetic was, they're talking about slavery to sin. Okay. It's a metaphor. All right. No, you got to humble yourself because, and then ask for forgiveness, and then you won't be a slave anymore because it's just a metaphor for being enslaved by sin. That's it. And it's like, wow, dude. Okay. No, that's not right. That's not right. These are stories that actually were just stories that happened. So nope, not how that works.
The implications here, that's precisely the grounds for the end of slavery. Also, did you pick this up right here at the very end?
150 years ago. I know I keep repeating that, but like, I want everybody to understand just how long we didn't abolish fucking slavery because of the Bible. It was almost as if Humans had to abolish slavery despite what the fucking Bible says, because it was so goddamn useless in the argument against it. Jesus.
Masters, do the same to them. Stop your threatening, knowing that he who is both their master and yours in heaven,
Whoa.
there is no partiality with him. Think about that.
Wow. Like, you know, if you inflect, then that makes it totally understandable. Right? No. Inflect all you want, buddy. Okay. You can Jim carry this shit all you want, man. You can act as overacty about it as you want. This isn't helping you, because the words are still wrong, dude.
That means that in heaven, there is no slavery. This is the...
Oh, that's comforting. Good. I'm glad that... So, oh, God. Jesus. Some fucking slave right now is like, oh, good. Okay. Well, I thought this was just going to keep going on, even in heaven. So, wow. At least I won't be a slave in heaven. Jesus Christ.
Grounds for the end of slavery, the slave trade. Not through some rote command that everyone needs to follow, but doesn't really want to obey deep down in their hearts.
Are you really talking about that? Like, it's so silly. Not some command to say don't own humans as property. That'd be stupid, obviously, because there might be some people that still want to a little bit, unlike the things that they were commanded. You know, like fabrics, not mixing fabrics. You know, everybody just wanted to not mix fabrics. As soon as they heard that, they're like, yeah, we're already good with that one. We're already good. Not eating shellfish, good, we're cool. Yeah, no, I already didn't want to eat the shellfish, which is why I'm cool with you just having it as a moral dictate. Like, what the fuck? This doesn't make any goddamn sense, dude. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Holy shit.
Right? But through wrestling with the principles of obeying God and seeking the good of their fellow man. As Jesus said, to love your neighbor as yourself. That's the end of slavery.
So, so Gisela said, Lloyd doesn't know. That's a good question. Once I had on 2 of the strongest nicotine patches before I gave up, I get crabby with a few hours without cigarettes. So, all right. I don't know if I've talked about this. I think I have, probably. But I used to smoke 2 packs a day. You know how I stopped? And it seems silly, right? But there's this book called How to Quit Smoking the Easy Way. And I listened to that sucker like 5 times. You know, it didn't work the first couple of times, but you just keep listening to it. And then once you like really kind of get all the concepts in your mind of like just how the stuff controls you, and like why it's also like why the nicotine makes you feel like you go crazy. Because like once you understand like where the like how the cravings work and stuff, and you kind of see through them, they're actually not that bad. Like, it was really weird because I would go crazy. Like, I would lose my mind. I'd be like, I just want to, and I'd be like all just like tense all day. And it was all just because it was like, oh, you're like in your head, you're like, there's a thing that I want that I can't have, right? And that's the part that messes with you. And the book basically gets you to not want it while you're still doing it, right? So the idea is don't stop and wait for your mind to catch up, because that'll never happen. You'll just keep going crazy and always be craving them forever, right? But if you keep smoking while you listen to the book, and it kind of walks you out of all of the the beliefs and stuff that you have about why you think you want to do it and everything, subconsciously and consciously. Once you get to that point, then you just don't do it anymore. And it's like you unwind your brain out of it. It sounds weird. It sounds like it's stupid or too good to be true or whatever. I said the same thing. I was like, I'm not, and then finally I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to try this shit and actually try it. And it took me several times of listening to the book, but it did work. And if I didn't do the patch, I didn't do anything. I just fucking just stopped. And it was like, didn't have any cravings because I didn't want to do it. There wasn't that conflict of there's something I want that I can't have, which makes you feel insane. If you just like don't want it, you just don't want it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. They say it works for like 90% of the people that try it, but there is like a 10% people that don't. But I don't. It worked for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm easily suggestible through repetition or something. That might be the case from religion or something. But yeah, give that book a try. I mean, it's worth it. It's you have the okay. You got to listen to it like over and over and over. I know. I would say listen to it too. Did you read it? Like, could you sit down and have to like read it with your eyes? Because I don't know. I think maybe me listening to it helped more. Because I don't know if I would have gotten it had I been sitting down to read it. But that might just be me. I don't know. Quitter. Yeah, dude. I went from like smoking 2 packs a day of regular like they're called 305s. I don't know if there are other places, but like down here in Florida, they're like a really cheap brand of cigarettes. And then Obama did this fucking tax where all of a sudden the 305s that were $1.25 or some shit went up to like $5.50, which was what like Camels cost. And so I was like, fuck. So then I had to switch from that, but it didn't apply to cigars somehow. I'm not really sure how that worked. So they had like these cigars that were the size of cigarettes. It was like, you know, a loophole or something. I don't know. So I started smoking those. Those were terrific for me, I'm sure. And so from there, I went to the vape, and then from the vape is when I quit. But yeah, nicotine's a motherfucker. That's all I gotta say. Nicotine is one of the hardest things because it's like you do it without realizing it. It's like it's not even something that you notice, you know, until you can't have it. It's like you'll just mindlessly pull out cigarettes. It's very, oh shit, I didn't even. But like, and the only time you even think about it is when you're in a position where you can't have it, and then you're like, oh my god, there's a thing I want to do that I can't. Which it's anyway, it's weird.
Through a radical shift of the heart. I love it.
Radical shift of the heart. I know that song. Yeah.
I love it. Paul does actually the same thing.
I love that song too. Thanks.
In Colossians 3, you know, he gives the same principled argument. And this is actually, it's a wonderful study to consider doing, like a deep dive into.
Rationalizing why slavery is actually not that bad. Yeah, that's it. Just.
And let me just go ahead and say this. This is not going to be compelling to a skeptic or an atheist.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, if you have to say that, then I feel like you're not doing great, man. Like, no, you have to start from the presupposition that God is always good and everything that is in the Bible is always perfect. And there was some kind of reason that it's in there, even if we could never understand it or ever be able to rationalize it. But maybe, you know, we'll figure out what it's all about once we get to heaven, which is just handing your brain over to somebody else and going, I guess this is just something I will never understand, but I'm going to believe it anyway. I'm just going to argue for it anyway. Because one day, once I'm dead and gone, then I'll get all the answers. Good God. Talk about like being so easily manipulated. It's unbelievable. Jesus. Pandora's Pinata said, radical shift of the heart. Sounds like hemia? Is that like a heart condition? It sounds like a heart condition. Is that angina? That's what that's what I thought you were gonna say. Sounds like angina, you know, which does not sound like what it is. It's a heart thing. It's not got nothing to do. I know. I was confused when I first heard it too. But Remy said, I find it so crazy how people get hooked on that. It smells so bad to me as a kid. Thankfully, they didn't have the mango flavored versions when I was in school. That's so weird that people say that. Like now, I don't, you know, obviously I still don't smoke cigarettes, but I do like the way they smell. Like I still, when it's burning, let me rephrase. When it's burning, it smells good. The burning tobacco to me, anyway, smells good. The smell that it leaves on people after it's done burning, not good. That does not smell good. But the burning of tobaccos, I like that. It's you know, I don't know if it's just, you know, from back of my mind, like as a nostalgia thing, but I do like that smell. But yeah, it's an odd thing, that addiction. I think it's more just like a hand to mouth thing or something. Just like it's like for the people that bite their fucking nails, you know, like me, right? Where you got like something you need to be doing and you don't, you know, it just is something literally to do. It's like why I drink so much tea now, because I'm like, I just need to be doing something. So I just am making tea, and I have a long, elaborate process for making it so that I have something to do. And I'm like, I want to do something, and I don't know what to do.
But I would argue it's not because there is no precedent for what I just said. It's right there in the scripture for those who have the eyes to see it.
Yeah, for those that will rationalize around rationalize their brain around literally anything. God damn, because they have to start with the conclusion that God is always good.
It's because these folks are committed to their presuppositions, and it gives them tunnel vision to completely miss what God is doing slowly over time.
Oh, you got to be fucking kidding me. Yeah, we're the ones with our presuppositions. Are you fucking nuts, dude? Your presupposition is that God is always great and always perfect, and he couldn't possibly have ever done anything wrong, even if he's commanding Shmenashite and shit. Come on, dude. And slavery. Slavery. I guess I could just say that one. I don't know. He seems to be he seems to be slaving it a lot. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. All right. Yeah. All right to you, bucko. Motherfucker.
That's all the time for me today. What about you? What did you think of Mike Jones on TimCast? Isn't that cool? I thought he did a fantastic job. Let me know in the comments below. Hey, if you made...
Isn't that cool? Mike Jones on TimCast. God, he's such a dork. All right, let me see what else we got here. Maybe there's a short video we can mess with for a little bit. I don't know. Let's see here. This dude is insane. Does anybody know who is the Apologetics Roadshow guy? This guy is so weird. He just sounds like he's the most miserable person I've ever heard about. Like, I could not be around that guy for any amount of time. It's like, wow, dude, you need to go. You're depressed or something, or sociopathic. I don't know which one, but there's something wrong with your chemical imbalance. Like, you got something going on there because you're just angry all the fucking time. Holy shit. Let's see if we can hear how he talks. See what I mean?
Have nowhere to.
Well,
Atheism is parasitic. It can't survive, let alone thrive, without stealing nutrients from other worldviews. And this isn't according to me. This is what they say. Atheists now define atheism as an absence or a lack. Atheism is just the absence or lack of belief in God. So this cordless drill is an atheist because it lacks belief in God. Oh, look, everyone, I found another atheist.
see what I mean? Like, what is this? Like, why are you so angry, buddy? I mean, calm down, man. Take a Valium or something. I don't know. Like, smoke a cigarette.
This one's good at math. Of course, we can agree with atheists on one thing. Their worldview is definitely lacking.
No, man, it's just that, like, look, why I don't know why this is so difficult for everybody. They're like, no, because this is all just that they're angry that they have a burden of proof because they want to say that something is true. And we go, yeah, I don't think that's true. And they go, well, then prove that. And it's like, what? No, you prove it. Like, dude, like that's how this works. I don't care what you're telling me you think is true. It's up to you to convince me that it is true. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything, really. We're just saying I'm not convinced, right? And that's it. And I could say that I am convinced that Christianity isn't true, and we can go with why I'm convinced that isn't true. But even still, it's like I don't feel like I really have to do that because atheists aren't evangelical like that. Christians are, which is kind of like why we end up pushing back on it so hard. But anyway, it's crazy that they have to do this. They just are angry. Like they think how is it any different than like leprechauns, man? Like I'm not convinced that leprechauns are real either. Does that mean that I have to make arguments about, I have to like try to convince you that, through evidence and logic that leprechauns don't exist? Like how the fuck does this work? Like, what are you talking about?
Unfortunately, a mere lack of something can't sustain a man or a city or a culture. If you lack food, you have nothing to eat. If you lack shelter, you have nowhere to live. If you lack a child bride, you're definitely not the Prophet Muhammad.
Oh, that's the other thing. He like hates Muslims, like for real. Like he really, really does. It's weird the disdain that he has for those folks. Your face is going to stay like that if you hold it that way too long. Yeah, I mean, look at his eyes. He looks like it's just anger, just seething. Like, I don't know what's wrong with him. This one ain't even that bad, honestly. There's other ones where you're just like, holy shit, man, calm down. What are you doing? Like, relax. My goodness. It's like. And it's like have incel vibes. You know how like incel shows are like they're just so angry, they just like hate that women have sex with people that aren't them. And there's like, there's fucking bitches just out having sex with dude. It's not fair. It's because they're bitches. That's what like that's what they sound like. Jesus.
A lack of water can't quench your thirst. A lack of talent won't make you the star of the talent show. A lack of common sense won't help you avoid dumb ideas.
Oh man, You are just nailing it because you had Chat GPT go, what about the word lack? We can throw this word around a lot, right? Chat GPT, like, we got you.
So, if atheism has no positive content, where are atheists getting their beliefs and values and rules?
From other and rules? Atheism doesn't have anything to see. This is where they just start conflating shit. Just because their worldview includes everything, because they can't think at all without their religion dictating all of their thoughts and beliefs and morals and everything to them, right? They think that atheism is the same way, and it's just not. Like, atheism is just like how you the conclusion that you draw about whether or not anybody's right about a God existing. That's it. It doesn't say anything about where you get your morals from. I could fucking technically get my morals from Buddhism or something, right? I don't need Christianity. I'd actually argue that Buddhism probably has a better standard for morality than Christianity does, but that's a different conversation. But yeah, I can get my morals from other stuff. Like, humanism is like the thing, and you can be a Christian and be a humanist, right? Because it's not. They're not exclusive, right? They're not mutually exclusive. It's like they're two like different things. The God belief and the moral beliefs are separate. It's like, I don't know why this is hard for them.
They're getting their beliefs and values and rules from somewhere else. This
Buddhism. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Man, are you not listening to me or something?
means that, according to atheists themselves, atheism is an ideological parasite sucking the beliefs and values and rules out of other worldviews.
According to what, man? What? Like what? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, according to Dawkins? Okay, yeah. Well, he can go fuck himself because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
And here we found another thing we can all agree on. Atheism certainly does suck. Christianity.
Oh man, he is so angry. This dude, you know what it is this guy was like, he must have been like ridiculed or something by atheists or something. Because like, what is the vitriol here, man? Is like so angry about it. It's weird.
Was just swimming along like a mighty shark through an ocean of civilizations. But the eyes of the shark are here. They're fixed, looking out into the beautiful and mysterious.
No,
and
that's funny. Said that. Mighty Filbert said, I read somewhere that nicotine was more addictive than heroin. I don't know. I haven't sucked anyone off for a cigarette yet. Well, that's because they're readily available. Okay. If it's as hard to get a hold of as some age, yeah, never mind. But no, but the day is young. That's right. It is young. Just wait till the Christians ban cigarettes. Okay. And then see who you're sucking up. No, as someone who has been, well, not necessarily age, but like others, basically exactly age, opiates. But yeah, it's different. I don't even know how to just like, the cigarettes is mostly a mental thing, but you don't get sick if you don't have it, right? That is like, but I don't know. It's weird because like you don't go crazy necessarily without age, right? Like you would just anyway. So they're just different. It's like a different thing because there is a point where you get so sick from not having opiates or whatever for a certain amount of time that you're like too sick to even go try to get it. And that's when you end up at the methadone clinic, and that's actually a pretty good thing. And it kind of just normalizes your life a little bit. So that you can wean your way up. I don't know how I'm going into like how do you get up, but yeah, if anybody, the methadone clinics aren't that bad. Everybody gives them a bad rap because they're like, oh, now you're on the government side. First of all, they're privately owned, so that's just wrong. It's just some fucking CEO's drug company, so it's not even the government. But no, yeah, it just normalizes your life, so it gets you out of that chase. No, but it's different. I don't know. I think maybe if cigarettes weren't as widely available, because I have just like walked across town to get cigarettes before. Like a friend of mine that like if I didn't have any money, and I never, even when I was on the streets, I did not ask for money. I hated that. So I would have a friend that I knew had like a pack of cigarettes that he would let me bum a couple, and I would walk across fucking town 40 blocks or some shit. So I don't know. It's different. It's different, but the same, but different. I don't know if any of that helps your analysis of age versus nicotine.
Sometimes dangerous waters, so it pays no attention to the big dumb lamprey clinging to its belly. The big dumb lamprey, obviously, is atheism, the
I'm so confused. What?
blood-sucking parasite of ideologies. Now,
It's not even oh my god. It's the answer to a single question, man. Like is he conflating like atheism with nihilism or something? Because those two aren't necessarily tied together. And nihilism isn't even necessarily bad. You can have like a happy nihilistic outlook. But anyway, I don't even know if that's what he's doing. He's just sort of just saying the atheist is just this big worldview that's all encompassing, that includes all of your morals and values and stuff like that. And it's just not. It's just the lack of it's like just the rejection of a single claim a God exists, a very specific kind of magical being that is responsible for the universe and whatever, and each individual kind of has their own interpretation of what that magical being is and is like, and how it like acts and wants everybody else to act like and everything like that. That's what we reject. It's not what's weird, man.
for all you atheists who heard what I just said, and
That's me. I'm an atheist, and I just heard you say, I don't feel like I got it though. I think maybe the drill's already sucked my brain out or something, or whatever your analogy. I don't know.
are about to do your best impressions of Thunder when he saw that his master Lo Pan had been defeated in Big Trouble in Little China.
Very offensive movie. It's it's funny. Like that was like I actually do like that movie a lot, but it does feel very insensitive culturally speaking. I forgot about that part. It's been a minute since I saw it. I just liked all the magic and the flying. No, wait, that was Hidden Tiger. Never mind. You know what? Forget it.
2 pieces of advice.
Oh, good. I can't. Yeah. Be angry and weird and about everything. Is that what it is? Always have anger in your voice.
First, if you can't handle a little constructive criticism, maybe don't spend the past 20 years posting Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy.
Why is he does this every fucking show, man. I've not seen a single one of his videos where he doesn't get angry and circle Sky Daddy online and just like, it sounds like you're the one that's about to blow up just because people call Jesus Sky Daddy. Relax, man. This is so fucking weird. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy,
Whoa.
Sky Daddy.
Oh my good God. Dude, we get it. We get it. Congratulations. People online say a lot of stupid shit. Okay. Yeah, they say Sky Daddy a lot. Who cares? What the fuck, man? Get off Twitter. Okay. First, these are probably fucking bots. Okay. They're probably not even real.
Oops. That's exactly what you did. So, too late to play victim now. Battle has begun.
Who the fuck are you talking to? Who are you fighting with, man? This is so weird. See what I mean? He's just like always just so angry. Like, I thought that you're supposed to have the joy of the Lord, man, and not the hatred for the atheists. Because this just makes you seem like you're fucking completely unhinged. Like, you sound like the most miserable person on the planet. Nobody would ever want to be whatever you are, which is a Christian. And so, yeah, I'd agree.
Second, since you love latching on to other things to obtain your nutriment, how about latching onto a comedian for a while and feeding on a sense of humor for once? To be fair, we all share this world, and it's good that when one
Unfortunately, the people like you are in it. Jesus, what the fuck?
group discovers something, they share it with others. It's good that in spite of our differences, individuals don't have to discover everything for themselves. Groups don't have to figure things out on their own.
What the fuck is happening, dude? What are you talking about, man? Like, and of all the people that reject people for being different and everything, Christians would be at the top of the goddamn list, man. That's why like the KKK and shit is like, or was it like Christian organization? Is a Christian organization.
Each generation learns new information and passes that information on to the next generation.
No. Wait. Each generation learns new information. You got it. You literally got it backwards. you're like each generation is trying to force the new generation to not learn anything and just do what they want them to do, which is sort of what religion is.
Language and writing and teaching allow us to keep building. I'm not talking about building some physical structure, although language and writing and teaching help us do that too. Talking about building an intellectual cathedral that we just keep adding to and expanding. More rooms, more domes, more.
And I wonder what like religious people got mad at people for writing. Don't write stuff down. Okay. Hello, we can talk. You're going to rot your brain if you're writing stuff down. Okay. No, we're doing oral traditions here. Okay. Like, I don't get out of here with that writing stuff. Jeez.
Towers and spires. This is one of the best features of human beings.
I'd agree. And that's your religion is literally in conflict with that feature of human. Never mind. Goddamn. Kent said, well, that's a big tough guy. He cannot stop telling people how he went to jail because he's a big bad boy. You should be scared of not because he's insecure and scared and feels weak deep down. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's because, the other thing that you said, that's because he's tough. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, dude. You're right. It's just seething with insecurity, dude. It's like, what? Wow, man. Get off the internet. Okay. It's ruining your brain, buddy. Okay. Holy shit.
So why would I object to atheists stealing from other worldviews? Well, the problem with the devotees of parasitic atheism is that they don't simply take what they want from other worldviews and then go about their lives. They do something much worse than that. After stealing beliefs and values and rules from other worldviews, atheists pretend to somehow be the true champions of the beliefs or values or rules they stole, and then they portray the very people who gave them the beliefs or values or rules as the ultimate enemies of the beliefs or values or rules.
What the fuck are you talking about, man? Atheism is the rejection of a single claim. It doesn't have anything to do with fucking rules, man. Jeez Louise. And like 9 times out of 10, like the reason that you shouldn't hurt somebody, like the reason that I shouldn't punch somebody in the face isn't because fucking Jesus said so. It's because that's a harmful thing to do to somebody. I could figure that out without your fucking religion. Holy shit. It's so weird. And it's like, but he thinks because that's similar, like Jesus would say not to punch people in the face. So it came from their thing because they just gotta like steal everything. They can't just like have their own stuff. They're like, you took that from us. It's like, dude, Buddha was saying that before Jesus like ever fucking existed. And he even included like have compassion for all living creatures and stuff. But anyway.
Take slavery, for instance. For many thousands of years, the entire world thought that slavery was perfectly normal. They couldn't comprehend a world without it.
Yeah. And wasn't your religion around back then? How come it didn't? How do we get on slavery again? I did not. I didn't. This is not. Wow. Okay.
Christians were part of that world. They were born into it. In the first century, almost a third of the Roman population were slaves.
So why didn't your God, your all-powerful, all-loving, all-knowing God, all-moral God, say not to do that shit ahead of time so that it never became a normal practice in the fucking first place? This is so, like, this is a bad example, man. Like, don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up, okay? Because it just makes y'all look insane.
The number of slaves might be lower in other areas, 10 or 20% of the population, or higher, 40 or 50%, or even more. Slavery was part of the fabric of society. But something kept bothering certain Christians about it.
So this is what we do. We suck, right? And if you want to suck, some stuffs, right? Like you just go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word Brentley, and check out to get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts. Can you? Okay, thank you. And God damn, I messed up the whole thing now, Kent. Like I gotta start over because you couldn't get your. Go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Let's go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word Brentley. That's BRENTLY at checkout. That's my name. That's me. And adamandeve.com is America's #1 sex toy dispensary. Save yourself a trip to the sticky store and go to adamandeve.com, have a package sent directly to you, and you don't have to touch any sticky stuff in that store. Okay. And the packaging is discreet and it does come quickly, and so can you. Go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley at checkout. That's Brently at checkout. Okay. That's it. I'm good. I'm good. We can pull it down. Thank you. All right. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
So some of them started freeing slaves. And I don't just mean their own slaves. They would buy other people's slaves and free them.
That's just stealing. Okay. I don't know how you think.
Slavery continued for centuries, but Christians eventually ended it in Christian majority countries. And they were so successful in
and who were they in opposition with? In those other Christians. Shit. Yeah. Kind of hurts your whole point there. Christians are both fighting with Christians for both getting rid of slavery and keeping slavery. You don't get to keep fucking credit for it, or you don't get credit for it.
convincing people.
But you can't keep the credit either. Neither one. You can't have either of those.
It was wrong that Western governments insisted that other nations abolish slavery as well. Now, ask an internet atheist today, who are the most pro-slavery people of all time?
It's just a picture. It's, I don't think it's real. Pandora's Pinata says, is this guy like unusually small? Yeah, he's a leprechaun. No, or leprechaun sized. Okay. But small, or are the books behind him really big? Yeah, they do seem it wouldn't surprise me if it's just like some picture that he's like in front of a green screen and the sizing's off. It's almost like when you got those ambiances and the raindrops are like that big. But it's like you see like the bed and the fireplace and then the window with the drops on the window. You're like, holy shit, those are big drops. Like, this is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids worth of size of raindrops on the fucking window, because it's just not sized correctly. Somebody did it really quick or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Christians, he'll reply. And who are the ultimate enemies of slavery? The ultimate champions of human rights? Atheists.
I knew it. Yeah. No, they weren't. Atheists love slavery.
Really?
They even have a holy book that they say is super moral that sanctions it and says that you can beat your slaves as long as they don't die as a direct result. But if they get up after death, oh no, that's you. That's you. I'm sorry. My bad. Shit. I got us mixed up for a second there. That was
really? Which part of your lack of belief convinced you that it's morally wrong to own another person and that we have a moral obligation to oppose slavery? Let me ask an atheist. Hey, atheist, I can own a drill. I can own a house. I can own a dog. Why can't I own another human being?
I know your book says that you can't. The one that you say is perfectly moral, and it says that you can. Again, you can even beat them. And even the New Testament doesn't say not to, because because a lot of times they go, that's the Old Testament, but even the New Testament says that you can have slaves, and they go, oh no, that's just talking about employers. That's not when they said slave, they meant slave, they meant worker that gets paid. Yeah, it's just that's how geez Louise, that's insane. Hey, how's it going? It's Chris. What's up, man? From the Daily Atheist. It's the Daily Atheist in the morning. Is that right? Is that the M? The DAM? How did the damn network? I mean, damn network sounds cool too. It's just like from the damn network. Sounds like a radio show like that. Hell yeah. Oh, it works.
I can translate. That's drill for we just know. No, you don't just know. You were raised in a society that taught you all your life that slavery is wrong. And your society taught you that because Christians made it that way.
Oh my God. No. We had to fight Christians, and it just happened to be that some Christians were with the people fighting those Christians that wanted it that way. We have a whole civil war to prove it, and we can literally look at the secession speeches where they say why they think they should be able to keep owning humans as property. And guess what they fucking cite, dipshit? The Bible. That's right, man. Holy shit. Go read the fucking secession speeches, man.
Now, since slavery is a thing of the past in this country, tell me, how does it feel getting owned? And then there's science.
What, man? Good one, dude. You nailed it. You nailed it out of the park. You drilled it, actually. If I can nail it. No, you drilled it, dude. He drilled it hard. And if you want to drill it hard, you can just go to adamandeve.com, right? Enter code word Brentley at checkout. and get your exclusive offer. You can get drilled with dildos or whatever, you know. So it's up to you.
Good old science. Let me ask an atheist. No, we want to nerd this time. Who are the ultimate enemies of science? Christians. And
Nobody said that, dude. You get that. You said that. You decided that your own answer to your own question was Christians to that question, because I wouldn't say that. I would say it's probably the woo people with their like weird like cynicism for the medical industry and stuff like that. I feel like they probably because like my family is hardcore fundamentalist. They weren't against the vaccines and stuff. So, and they wore masks, right? So yeah, no, I don't know if I'd agree with that. I think it might be the woo, the crystal people. You know, those the granola, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They're probably more anti-science than Christians at this point. But and maybe conspiracy people, we could add conspiracy, and there's a lot of overlap here. Let's just say that there's a lot of overlap to these groups, right? It's not just it could be a Christian that's also granola that's also believes in reptilian humanoids. I don't know, right? It's not, you know, but yeah, I don't know who I would put at the top of the anti-science list. What do y'all think? Who's at the who's at the top of the anti-science list?
who are the supreme champions of science? Atheists. There you have it. Comes from an atheist calculator, so you know it's mathematically certain.
This is so weird. What is, dude? This is just so weird. Like, first of all, why does your phone sound like that? Get Siri or something, you fucking weirdo. Get a new, like, he's got like some 200-year-old phone where where they had to update, they download the AI, but it's like some fucking weird version of it, so it always sounds like it's a scream. A ghost-faced guy calling on the fucking phone or some shit. Like, I don't know what's happening here, but that's a weird.
What's the problem with the claims of our atheist friends? Well, in the past, there
What
were
claims? It doesn't. We don't make any claims. That's the thing, man. We just don't accept your claim that God exists. That's not a claim of its own. You can't say that we make all these other fucking claims. Jesus, we don't agree on jack shit. Are you kidding me? Like, for fuck's sake.
many scientific developments over many centuries, and these developments happened around the world. But the scientific revolution,
Yeah, this dude's the king of cringe. I don't. I've never heard somebody more angry at nobody, because he's arguing with nobody. He's just making up a caricature of what he thinks atheists should be, to be very angry about and at, and making his video toward them. And this is every video. It's weird how fucking just bitter he is. It seems. I don't know. It's just, I feel like the dude, he needs to get on meds. He needs to get on meds. You know, I think he needs to talk to a therapist. Look, buddy, you know, you are worthy of love. Okay, it's okay, right? You know, you were wronged in the past, and they did something wrong. So you need to console the little you, the child you that was harmed by the people, because you didn't deserve that. Okay. And then all this needs to stop. Okay. You need to stop all this. All right. Because it's fucking weird.
occurred in a certain place at a certain time. And the people who were responsible for the scientific revolution were all Christians of one sort or another. Catholics, Protestants, an occasional heretic, but they all believed in God and
the occasional heretic. Okay. Then the Christianity doesn't have anything to do with it, man. Even according to the people you just listed. If it can be an occasional heretic, then the Christianity doesn't have anything to do with it. Jeez Louise. It's crazy. It's almost as if Christianity is completely independent of whether or not you accept science, because you can accept science and still believe in Jesus Christ or whatever. You probably couldn't be like I was raised, a fundamentalist that believed in the literal 6-day creation and stuff like that. There were dinosaurs on Noah's Ark and shit like that. Yeah, that's pretty fucking anti-science. But like, you don't have to be that way. You can be a Christian and still accept science.
the Bible. The pioneers of the scientific revolution, again, all of whom were some variety of Christian, through their discoveries in astronomy and physics and chemistry and biology, gave rise to modern science.
Didn't like Muslims do like math stuff? And it wasn't there a lot of math shit or whatever that the Muslims discovered? Also, like this is just such a weird way to look at it, because like if you look at modern psychology, a lot of that is taken from practices in Buddhism and Stoicism and stuff. Who like curiously kind of have a lot of similarities actually there when it comes to like meditation and stuff. Anyway, but like yeah, so it really just depends. Like it's almost as if this stuff doesn't fucking matter. Like your religious beliefs are completely independent of whether or not you are believing in science, except for I think the fundamentalists part of it. I think fundamentalism does stunt that shit, right? But that's fundamentalism of any religion. I don't think it matters, right? But I could be mistaken. I don't know for sure, but it seems to me that you can be a Christian and still be pro-science, and you can be an atheist and still be anti-science. Right now, Richard Dawkins is proving that you can be an atheist and be anti-science in his own specific field. Anyway, but we're not going to get into that. But
so who set the stage so that modern atheists could be so into science? Christians did. They did all the heavy lifting. And then they handed atheists modern science on a platter and said, here's how it's done. You're welcome to join us. Atheists.
Such a weird. Can you cite anything here, man? Like I'd love it if you could just demonstrate that I know Christians don't do that. They just say stuff and then go, trust me, bro. But like, this is, do you have anything you can cite for us as like why we should believe that you're right about this? Because you're oversimplifying shit to all fucking get out, man. And that's just not true that all the Christians, I mean, you say that like Christianity is the most popular religion on the planet, but I mean, there's so many different categories of Christianity to wit, they each other would say that others are not actually true Christians. So I don't know, man. I don't think that you can just oversimplify this shit and just be like, because it just ends up being like a numbers game, right? It's just like, oh yeah, like the majority of scientists throughout history were Christian. It's like, well, that was the most popular religion throughout history. I don't know, because of maybe the fucking Crusades and shit, not to mention it cancels out, like back in Roman days. It was like you could just add other people's gods to your canon and everybody can kind of just believe in their gods, but like other people's gods could exist too. It wasn't like this, oh no, there's only one and it cancels out all of yours. Christianity was like one of the first ones to do that shit. And so it erased other gods while it was spreading, which makes it spread that much faster, right? So that might have something to do with it too. But there's not like, where is it in Christianity that it's like you gotta, you should test things and see, and come, make a hypothesis, and then test against that hypothesis. And then if you can't, if you fail or you can't, try to prove it to be false. And if you can't prove it to be false, then it's a theory. And then you should keep testing that theory to make sure that it is the most reliable model up to none of this comes from fucking Christianity. Man, like this is just not, it's completely separate. It's so weird to try to take credit for stuff. But again, like, this is what Christians do. They're like, that's us too. Oh yeah. No, that's us over here. Yeah. Oh no, we did that. Oh yeah.
As always, responded by saying, actually, Christians, this is ours. It's always been ours. You Christians are in the way. In fact, science needs to be protected.
We're not weirdos like you, man. We're not saying anything was ours. This is fucking insane. This is so stupid. I don't think I've ever seen an atheist go, all atheists are responsible for science and stuff. Like, that's just insane, man. We don't care, okay? Jesus. Oh, man. It's like, yeah, it just has not, like, has anybody ever heard an atheist be like, science is always atheists or whatever throughout history and everything? I've never heard that. I just know that atheists currently are the ones that typically promote critical thinking and things like that, and they typically do like science because of the critical thinking aspect of it. But again, you can be into science and be a Christian as long as you're not like a weirdo fundamentalist that has to believe that the earth was 6,000 years old or something, it's just, but whatever.
Protected from you Christians, because if we don't protect science from Christians, Christians will destroy science. That's why everyone needs to.
Hey, Steven, stop there. Oh, you're a member of the Daily Atheist as well. Awesome. Hell yeah. That's fucking awesome. 2 great shows, 2 morning shows, by the way. all right, and fun ones, you know, not like all those serious shows that everybody like this weirdo, you know, just being all angry and serious. You just like if I just had this face permanently. You Christians, I just, you know, Christians, the atheists are responsible for all science, you stupids. Okay, you stole all your science from us atheists. Like that's me being him right now. That's me doing that.
To become an atheist, it's the only way to save science. Sound familiar? That was the rallying cry of those gullible narcissists we call the new atheists.
Okay, no. Whatever. Okay.
Millions of people.
Those gullible narcissists. Yeah, you don't sound narcissistic at all, buddy. You're just a bastion of fucking humility right now. That's what you sound like. Jesus Christ.
People listened to the lamprey and became atheists. Now we've had over 2 decades of the new atheism. Tell me, how has science improved and flourished over the past 20 years thanks to the new atheists?
I don't know. We have the internet now. I mean, well, thanks to the new atheists, nothing, because that, again, doesn't have anything to do with science. My God, they're just so weird. They just want to conflate everything and just like say this is also that or something. I don't know. It's fucking weird. But you know, if you want to do something fucking weird with dildos and stuff, you know, go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com. Enter that code word Brentley, Brently, at checkout. Adamandeve.com is America's #1 sex toy dispensary. Save yourself a trip to the store and get your butt some stuff. Go to adamandeve.com today. And if you want to support us, you can support us by supporting our sponsor, adamandeve.com, or you can do all this other shit right here, you know, and you can, if you like, you can pause it, right? You know, you can pause it. Oh, also, could you like and subscribe? I'd really appreciate it if you want to hit that like button. It really does. It really does help. You know, even the theist that's trolling the chat right now, you can hit it too, or you can hit the thumbs down. Actually, it's like, you know, it all helps, right? So just anything, any of the thumbs you can hit. But yeah, just if you can do that, it'd be great. Yeah, if you want to support the show, there's a bunch of different ways you can do that. You can email me here. There's you can do a one-time thing on Cash App. The cash tag is Apostate. You can hit the join button, become a member. You can hang out in the Discord. You can email me at punkapostate@gmail.com. You can check out all my links of my socials and everything below. And no, yeah, that's it. That's all. I think I got through everything. I just did it faster than usual. But yeah, thank you all so much. Serious for hanging out. This is a lot of fun. Really appreciate it. And hey, you know, the main thing though is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we will see you next time.